If it's a thought that we're interpreting negatively, that we don't like it, it is only because that thought in our interpretation has challenged the authenticity of our perception of self.
The Chronic Truth Podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. The views expressed by our guests are their personal opinions and do not constitute medical advice. While we share experiences and strategies related to health, neither the host nor the guest are acting as licensed medical professionals unless explicitly stated. Always consult your physician or qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your treatment plan. Listeners assume all risks associated with implementing any information discussed on this show.
Good evening and welcome to the Chronic Truth Podcast. I'm Kimberly Nash. Tonight's guest is Dean Graves, a renowned meditation teacher, mental health counselor, and spiritual guide with over 20 years of experience in the field. Through his expertise in mental health and deep spiritual understanding, he provides a holistic approach to healing and growth. With his compassionate and insightful guidance, he has inspired and empowered people from all walks of life to embrace mindfulness and meditation as a path to greater self-awareness and spiritual awakening. Welcome, Dean. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Kim. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm grateful for the invitation.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, I am, at this point, I consider myself to be a messenger. I have written 4 books, and I conduct 2 podcasts. I still do mental health counseling and teach groups at local mental health hospital, as well as do some trauma work and counseling at a therapy clinic. And so I'm retired, but I don't have a lot of free time.
I was going to say, you sound pretty busy.
Yes. The work that I primarily focus on is helping people understand who they are and understand what their purpose in life is, and use that as a basis to become more aware of what they need to do to heal their distortions of perception of self that perpetuate their stress and suffering and exclude their experience of greater happiness. And so that sounds like a mouthful, but it's all tied together, and it's all within our task, our common task of things to accomplish in this range of consciousness.
And I'm all for learning about that sort of thing. I feel when you're suffering with a chronic health condition, you're always wondering why and is this all? So bringing this on and helping us sufferers with chronic health conditions find a more positive release and outlook, that's a good positive thing for us.
Well, it's all controlled by the mind, and understanding what the mind is helps to begin to facilitate physical healing as well. And so understanding the basics allows the individual to assume responsibility for their healing and get better.
I know when I was going through my Hep C treatment, my doctor, I was end-stage liver, decompensated, and my doctor came to me and he said, if I could bottle up what you have inside and give it to all my other patients, he said, we wouldn't need this medication.
Can't put it in a syringe, though, can you?
Yeah, can't do that. So I'm a true believer on what we feed our mind, our body reacts. So what is consciousness, and why is understanding what it is important?
Well, that's a loaded question, and I'll try to explain it as completely as possible in a relatively short period of time. Everything that we experience is consciousness, including ourselves, and all of creation is consciousness. And creation is much more vast than our wildest imagination can imagine. consciousness is the creator experiencing itself. And I define consciousness as our creatorness intoxicated with free will, because creation began with the creation, with an analog projection of the one infinite creator, projecting itself as an analog creation, with one distinction, and that distinction was that it was distorted with free will. Now, philosophy has debated for centuries, if not longer, about what free will is, whether we have free will or whether we are predetermined and so forth, which is the wrong perspective on free will. Free will is the perception of separation. And it is only because we all are distorted with free will that we have choice. We wouldn't have the choice to turn right or to turn left if we understood we were all the same, all the one being. And so that was the design of creation, that the creator would project itself as a concept, with the sole distinction being that the concept self perceived itself as separate from the creator. And if you understand that the creator, being all that there is, has no perception of self because it has no comparison. There's nothing to compare itself to. And so in its wisdom, it created this analog projection of itself, which gave it a vehicle to interact with and to observe, and by observing, learning about itself. The analog projection of the creator proceeded with the same objectives as the one infinite creator to create creation. And all of creation is an analog projection of the creator, but it is increasingly intoxicated with free will distortion. So because we perceive ourselves as very separate from each other as well as from the creator, we are very intoxicated with free will. And just like drinking too much whiskey, when you're intoxicated with free will, you lose awareness and you do usually stupid things that you wouldn't do if you weren't intoxicated. So the entire process of evolution, the entire process of the enlightenment path, is sobering from this distortion of perception of free will, of separation. And as we evolve, we surrender our perceptions of autonomy, move ever closer to unity with all that is around us, and we collapse those perceptions of manyness, of separation, until eventually we reunite with the Creator, not ever having been separate other than on our perception. And so the purpose of creation is the purpose of every participating element of consciousness, which is to explore ourselves. And by virtue of that self-exploration, we fulfill our purpose in creation and consequently fulfill the purpose of creation.
For a patient fighting serious chronic health conditions, what constitutes healing for a patient to feel better?
Well, understand, and we hinted at it at the beginning of our conversation, most of science, and particularly medical science, perceives that the mind is a product of the physical, that it's a product of the brain. In reality, it's the exact opposite. The body, actually the condition of the body, is a manifestation of the mind. So asking the question, what is a mind? A mind is nothing more than a bundle of beliefs that we have agreed to incorporate into this perception of self that we're calling an identity. You can call it a hierophant, or you can call it an ego. It's all the same thing. There's no distinction, but that is also a mind. It is a mind that we create with every incarnation. And the reason that we create that is it provides us with the vehicle to attract to us the types of experiences that we need to fulfill the curriculum of learning that is assigned to us for this range of consciousness. And so all of creation is a school, and what we're learning about is ourselves, which in introspection is the one infinite creator itself. And so it is necessary to have tremendous diversity in what it is that we can learn, but also to learn that within certain parameters. And so the creation has a design. What we perceive to be our galaxy is actually perceived to be a universe by the higher consciousness. And every galaxy has a design that mixes and matches archetypes of the creator. And in the course of development of creation, there were 5 inherent characteristics of the one infinite creator that became delineated. They were always part of the creator, but until creation began, they were not delineated. And upon that delineation, that gave great diversity to what could be explored in creation. And in addition to those 5 inherent characteristics and the originating distortion of free will, there are 26 other distortions that have been wrought from those 5 inherent characteristics. For example, one of the inherent characteristics is stillness. Well, the opposite of that is motion. And so we perceive motion because that is a distortion that is incorporated into our experience, but there are parts of creation that do not perceive motion. It's not one part of their design, which boggles our mind in trying to figure out, well, how do they do anything if they can't move? But that is a strategic part of their experience, and they have no doubt other distortions that they contend with that we can't conceive of because we don't experience it. And so healing is very simply the process, whether it be physical or whether it be mental or spiritual, is the process of surrendering distortions of perception. We have great powers, far greater than what most people can even imagine, to affect healing within ourselves. We cannot do that with other people yet, but as we evolve to higher ranges of consciousness, because we're breaking down that perception of separation and perceiving ourselves as more a unified body, we will actually be able to heal other people and they will be able to heal us. So our healing of these distortions rapidly accelerates with that capability. But healing, since the body is the condition of the body is a manifestation of the mind, it is incumbent upon us to become aware of what it is that we have incorporated in this mind, alleviate as many of those distortions of perception as we can, and that will immediately transpose itself into the body's condition. And there is a sect that calls that quantum healing, which is nothing more than the same concept of quantum physics. We label and we see what we perceive that we are seeing. The same is possible with perceiving the body to be a certain way. When we change that perception, the body will transform in order to meet that new standard.
What is stress and suffering, and how is that persuasive to humanity per se?
Stress is our teacher. Every time that we experience stress, we are experiencing something that we don't like. And with every experience, and let me qualify that every thought is actually a complete experience in and of itself. We perceive an experience to last some period of time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever. But that's actually comprised of dozens of thoughts. And with every thought, before we can go to the next thought, we have to make a decision. And that decision very simply is either this thought feels good and I like it and I want more of it, or it doesn't feel good and I don't like it, I don't want more of it. If it's a thought that we're interpreting negatively, that we don't like it, it is only because that thought in our interpretation has challenged the authenticity of our perception of self. It has challenged our identity. And so instead of resisting that, we are tasked with learning to use awareness as the tool to recognize that this is a message that is being brought to us that we need to learn to use to heal, to surrender that belief that we've incorporated in our identity. And when we do that, then we are magnetic. We stop attracting those experiences because we've learned the lesson. And consequently, we've also ceased restricting what healing the body can experience because we're no longer telling the body to be broken.
Now, do you offer in-person or virtual help with people that reach out to you?
Sure, absolutely, I do. Meditation is our greatest healing tool. Meditation is a misconceived concept. All that meditation does is teach us to invert our awareness so that we become aware of the emotional baggage that we have collected, which is nothing more than the lessons that have been brought to us during the course of our lifetime that we didn't learn. We're just carrying that homework assignment. And the beliefs that we've incorporated into this identity that are perpetuating our experience by not changing what we put into this belief. And so for everyone, meditation is the greatest tool that we have. And unfortunately, there are not a lot of really good meditation teachers around. And it is something that needs to be self-taught anyway. But there was a fellow psychologist in Serbia that was a brilliant, very intuitive person. And he died a few years ago. But while he was alive, I had the opportunity to learn his techniques from him. And so I learned from the master. And what he developed were some different exercises, methodologies that aid us to focus our awareness inside. And one particular one that I use most frequently dissipates traumas in a matter of 10 minutes. Literally, people that have had a trauma since childhood, in 10 minutes is gone and they're just transformed because this trauma is no longer part of their life. A deeper method that he has changes your conditions. For example, a condition would be, well, for me, for example, when I was learning to do this from him, and the first time that he processed me, as it was called, in my entire life, I had this sense of tension. Even in the most relaxed vacation experiences, I would have an underlying tension that would never go away. And that was just a condition of my being. And he processed that and it was gone. And there was such a feeling of euphoria and bliss and that lasted for 2 or 3 days after we finished that process. And I use that frequently, people that have phobias and fears and things of that nature, and it's dramatically effective. And it's also dramatically effective in affecting physical healing as well, because the physical healing is a manifestation of the mind. So if you have distortions of perception in the mind that's telling the body to be a certain way, and you get rid of those perceptions, then the body can be as it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah.
What would you say happiness is, and how do you suggest, or what's a way that all of us can get more of it?
Reduce your stress by affecting the healing. undertaking the process of inverting your awareness and becoming aware of the things that you've incorporated into you. Happiness is not a commodity. It's not something that we can give. It's not something that we can get. It is something that we are. And bliss is defined as perfect happiness. And bliss is simply the absence of stress, which is what we're evolving towards, and we will all achieve that at one point in the future. But happiness is a spectrum getting to that eventual culmination of being in a condition of bliss. And so as we become more aware and heal the emotional baggage and heal the beliefs that we've incorporated into this false perception of self, the less stress we experience, gets replaced with happiness, our natural condition of being. And I explain it as if, a wave of the ocean comes into the rocks on the shore. It fills all the holes and the gaps in the rocks. And that's what happiness does. It just fills all the vacant spaces that are made available because you've done the healing and allowed this illness, this stress to dissipate. Pain is stress. It's very stressful, but it is also our teacher. And understand that when we feel pain, it is because our energy has left that portion of your body. And to use as an example, if your knees are fine, but you fall on one knee and hurt your knee, there's pain on that knee, and that's the energy that has left that portion of your body. And, as your body stitches back together and begins to do the healing, most of that will come back into the knee, so it's not chronically painful. But until you bring your awareness to that knee and realize that knee is not felt as clearly as the other knee, that's the indicator that you need to push your awareness, push that energy back into your knee. If you've had a surgery, that's also a significant effect also, that when they cut your body feels that pain whether you're sedated or not, and the energy has left that portion of the body. And they often say that, well, you're going to have numbness there forever because that's where we had to cut. But that's not true. You can push the energy back into there and regain full feeling, where that numbness had arisen after the surgery. And most of we do have conditions of the body that usually bone on bone or something like that, where there's constant pain. A lot of people suffer from back pain, and what is happening is we're re-traumatizing that part of the body because bone on bone is banging each other. But we can, through concentration and learning to numb that, not have that constant pain. And that's something that I do a lot of work with the folks in the mental hospital. I work with veterans primarily, and they have a lot of war injuries that they just, they've given up. They found out, no help for it. And that's what I try to help them with, is learn how to not pretend that it's not there, but not make it the focus of their life, so that they don't deal with that as the primary concern of their day. And when you do that, then the more you do that, the more you can develop that awareness, and more you can take control of those thoughts and even reduce further that experience of chronic pain.
You said you wrote some books. Tell us about those.
Well, they're all about consciousness. As you can imagine, I've written one book in particular that explains the Hierophant that we've been talking about here, and explains how we create the Hierophant, what the Hierophant is, that ego mind, how it interacts with our mind, how it brings to us the nature of the experiences that we have and need. And it also has some of the techniques that I've learned from the Serbian psychologist that you can self-apply to get immediate relief from traumas and things of that. You don't need a guide. You can do that yourself, because your awareness is what actually affects the healing. And so I have those descriptive that you can do yourself, or you can do with a co-healer, just someone to do the exercises with you. My most recent book is called The Enigma of Consciousness, and that is kind of my compendium book, and explains the beginnings of creation, the structure of creation, the structure of our archetypical mind, which is a blueprint that explains how we process thought and why we go through this process of creating the Hierophant and so forth. And understanding that and the many other things that are included in the book give us perspective. If you've never played or never seen football before, and someone takes you to a game and you're sitting in the stands and you're trying to figure out why these men are banging each other in the head around on the ground, it's not fun. It's not entertaining because you don't know what's going on. But if you understand the rules of the game, then you know what's going on, and it's a lot more fun. And that's true with life. If you don't understand the rules of life and why things are they are, it's confusing and frustrating as hell, and oftentimes very painful. But if you understand what's going on and why you're doing this and why they're doing that and what our objective is, then you can assume responsibility much more easily for your healing and, run towards the goalpost without wandering around in the fields trying to find the path again.
And with this being said too, Dean, I am a firm believer that what we feed our mind, our bodies react. And I'm not one for popping a bunch of pills to cover up and mask what's going on in my body.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe if we can get to the root and inside, like you are saying, get to the root of our pain and what we're feeling, those of us who are suffering with pain, let's try to do some work on our own through meditation and try to relieve some of that pain and not be on so much medication.
Well, the medication is actually not designed to heal. It's designed to help you find a platform that you can begin to heal from. And so if you understand that it's not intended to be a lifelong experience, I mean, some maintenance, medications are, but they're usually not contending with pain that much. Just take the attitude that this is something temporarily that I need in order to find a platform to begin to heal from, and then take it from there. Take advantage of that in order to affect the healing that you want to experience on a all the time basis.
Are you on any social media?
I'm on all those social media. I've got 2 podcasts. And I'm on YouTube and Facebook and all the Facebook sites. I have a website that has the link to all of that and all my websites and all the podcasts and the books and everything. And it's very simply the initial D, Dean Graves, all one word, no spaces or dashes or anything, .org. And you can reach me. I take appointments every week, and I work with people all over the world in affecting primarily healing with the trauma is what they're most interested in working with. But yes, and I'm delighted to work with folks and we can have a chat. I'm happy to have a chat, and if I think that I can help you, then we can do something. If not, maybe I can direct you to where you can get some help.
I thank you so much for your time on this. Again, it's something that I believe in and I do in my own personal life, and I just want to get more awareness out there for those who listen to the podcast. So thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I truly appreciate it.
Well, you're very kind. I'm delighted to be here, and hopefully this will be helpful to your listeners, and I'm available to help any way that I can.
Beautiful. And for those listeners, we are going to post all his links to these to his websites, etc., on the bottom of this podcast. If this episode has impacted you in any way, please leave a comment on this episode or go to our website, chronictruthpodcast.com, and share about it. We'd love to hear from you, love to hear your input, suggestions, or even some questions for Dean that we can forward to him. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you again, Dean.